Okay, let's invite some people. Inviting. So I just ran a Q&A in my other group, the Ultimate How To, and I almost missed the Q&A in there. Oops, I'm pressing a bunch of buttons, which means I would have been late to this because this is what happened. Why is this loose? I went to do a 20-minute meditation earlier because I just do this like alpha state. My headphones were on. Hello, Caitlin. I do this alpha state meditation thing, and I do it for like 20 minutes, and then I did it, and then I looked at the clock and it was like 7 o'clock. I was like, "What? I just did this for an hour." So then I was like 2 minutes late in the other group, and I was just coming out of like an hour meditation. I was like, like coming in from like, whoa. It was good though. I never did that before. So now we will set alarms when I'm doing meditations for an hour to make sure I don't actually meditate for longer than an hour. That's brand new. Okay, I'm just gonna open this on my computer so I can see the comments better. Oh, I'm very excited about this topic that we're talking about. Let me just make sure the comments are coming through. Hi, Caitlin. Hi, Anna. Hi, Lisa. Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure this was working. Okay. This may be one of my absolute favorite topics ever. And here's why. Because this was one of the first things I learned when I was, this is what got me off of welfare. What we're going to talk about tonight is the thing that got me to welfare from 500K that first year. And really it's basically, hi Jennifer, it's basically wealth principles, right? Hi Steph. I love when we just jump from one training to the next with my people. Yay, you're on live, Anna. Welcome to your live event. It's the unpopular thing to talk about. And I don't hear very many coaches talking about it. Some do, and thank God they do, because I really honed into those people. I sort of sniffed them out because right away when I jumped into this company, I saw something alarming right away, like, The second I started hearing wealthy people talk, and I grew up poor my whole entire life, was completely surrounded by all like poverty, right? And then I started hearing wealthy people talk. I was like, whoa, like these are not even almost the same world. This is such different. This is like, like Mars and, Winchendon, Massachusetts, where I grew up. This is like just two completely different planets. And I was very confused, and I thought, these people don't seem to get these people, and these people don't seem to get these people. Poor people think wealthy people are superficial, and wealthy people think poor people are all lazy and just want to be on welfare. And I'm like, yeah, these people do not get it at all. Like, nobody sees each other. So I really just started looking at, okay, what is the difference between why these people stay stuck, and like why people in poverty, or even if they're middle class but in debt, kind of, why these people stay there, and why these people just like explode and make so much money. Like, what's the real difference between the two? And two things came up largely. One of them we do every single day in Elite. That is literally your ability to show up right now. It's like, even today, I'm not gonna lie. So I still have like, I don't know, 20 pounds to lose, something like that. I had 60 to lose. I have 20 left to lose. Back like a couple years ago, 5 years ago, I was on antidepressants for a year, and I gained 40 pounds. And that was like, after having my daughter and stuff. So I still have like 20 pounds to lose. And even today, it was like looking at like, okay, today is a perfect reflection of why I still have 20 pounds to lose, right? Like, I usually fast until about 1 o'clock, but then normally I end up fasting till 3 o'clock because I forget to eat, and then I'm exhausted. So then the next morning I eat, and it's like, okay, that's messy, but I'm fairly consistent with it. I'm proud of myself, and it feels good, but I mess up sometimes. And then this morning I woke up and I ate pancakes, and then I went for a walk, and I did like a 30-minute video, but I quit the video at like 25 minutes because they were doing the side plank, and I wanted to go learn how to do the side plank. So I didn't actually quit. I went to learn how to do the side plank. Now, then after that, I forgot to eat lunch, and then I ate something else. I don't remember. And I was like, yeah. Like, I stopped and I was like, it's your ability to show up right now. Like, today is a perfect reflection of why you still have 20 pounds to lose, because you're not perfectly consistent with this. And it's not about being perfect, but it is about, like, perfect consistency just means consistency. Do you know what I mean? So it's like looking at it like, yeah, you still screw this one up a lot. And it is what it is. And when you can just look at it, acknowledge it's like, okay, what are the tweaks here? And so I've come really far, and I'm really proud of myself because my routines are really awesome. My health is pretty awesome. My working out, I'm getting in better and better shape. I can run, I can swim, I can bike, I can do all the things. You know, my knees and my back are so much better. I look better. My skin is better. Yet today I literally sat on my bed and was like, yep. Today's a perfect example of why you still have 20 pounds to lose. So instead of lying to myself and being like, oh, tomorrow you'll do better, or the next day you'll do better, or whatever, it's really just owning that my inability to be able to show up consistently with eating when I'm supposed to, eating what I'm supposed to, when I'm supposed to, is why I still have 20 pounds to lose. And instead of judging and shaming myself, I then look at it, I acknowledge it, and then I will go back to like, okay, so what are the things you know work, and what do you need support on in order to make this happen, and what do you need to tweak in order for today not to happen again? And I get just a little bit better, and 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 every day it just improves more and more, and I focus on that. I focus on, yeah, but you know what? A month ago, Mandy, you were here, and now you're here. This got better, that got better, this got better. This wasn't perfect, but all these things got better. But I also don't lie to myself that, oh, it's because of some other excuse and reason and I'll do better tomorrow. No, you won't do better tomorrow unless you can do better right now, right? So number one is the ability to show up and do the thing right now. All imperfectly, all ridiculously, all shamelessly, all whatever the thing. It's just literally showing up and doing the thing right now. Either you're gonna freaking put healthy food on your plate and you're gonna stop eating when you're not hungry anymore, and you're going to move your body, or you're not, and you're either gonna do it today or you're not, because whatever you're doing today is what you're gonna do tomorrow. You're not magically gonna start tomorrow, right? So it was like this, same with bulimia. Like, either you're going to actually throw up after you eat this food or you're not. Telling yourself this is the last time is complete bullshit, Mandy. And it was either right now I'm gonna not throw this food up, or I'm going to always throw the food up. And it's telling that truth to myself. So that was a big part of it. Either I can keep my commitment and show up for the Facebook Live that I said I would do, run the training that I said I would do, show up for that client call instead of coming up with an excuse because I want to get out of it and blah, blah, blah. Either I can show up and do it now, or I'm never going to show up and do it. Don't lie to myself and say, next week is going to be so much easier because blah, blah, blah. I'm not on my period. I'm not blah, blah, blah. And next week I'll be able to do a better job. And no, bullshit. If you can't do it now, you can't do it next week. Either you're changing now or you're the same fucking human next week, right? So that was the first half of going big. It's the ability to be able to make the decision right now, to invest in the thing, to actually say, okay, I'm committing this, to put your ass on the line, to do the thing right now. The second you have the courage and the clarity and the motivation to do it, you take massive action to back it that you can't turn around and get out of. That is the first part of it, right? The second part of it is the wealth principles that I was learning. The second part of it was like, oh, these people have a shit ton of excuses why they can't do the thing. And the other thing was like, they take forever to do things. I grew up in a world where we just take forever to do something. Forever. Forever. It takes forever to do anything, right? Like, there's like an hour of watching Netflix, and then an hour of a temper tantrum, and maybe bitching about it, and then maybe we'll do the thing, maybe we won't, maybe we'll excuse it, and we'll try again next week, right? Then there was these other people who just showed up and did the thing now, and they got so many things done in one day that my mind was blown. Like, they just keep doing the next thing and the next thing. Like, oh, they cleaned their pool and they fixed the cabinet and they did this other thing. And it's like, I used to be mystified with like, how did these people just like that guy's out fixing his bike right now. Like, what makes him motivated to fix his bike rather than sitting and watching Netflix? And I used to be like, wow, these are really two different worlds. These people over here that have these massive results, they just sort of consistently just keep doing things. And it's like no big deal to them. They're just doing it and do the next thing and do the next thing and do the next thing. And so I started trying on this energy of like, okay, look, what would it feel like if I just did the next thing and did the next thing and did the next thing and did the next thing? And I didn't worry about tomorrow. Just for today, I'm just going to do the next thing and then do the next thing and then do the next thing and then do the next thing. And what I learned really fast was all the rules that poverty has. Poverty has so many goddamn rules that wealth does not have. So I started recognizing, oh, it's time for me to step forward and do this thing, but I have all these rules around why I can't do this thing, or why it's bad, or why this, or why that person should do that first, or blah, blah, blah. And I had to start releasing the rules for what was true, what was necessary, what other people all needed to be doing, who needed to be quiet, and how I needed to feel, and how I needed to look, and what results I needed to have first, and all this other bullshit. Like, okay, well, what if I had to get on the Facebook Live and I just got on even though I just was bawling because I got in a huge fight with my husband at the time? And like I was like, oh, I was so upset with him. And I got on the Facebook Live and I said, I just was crying for the last hour. I had a tough conversation, but I'm shaking it off. I'm here to serve you guys. And let them just see what it looked like to actually just show up. And then I started doing it. And then people were like, oh my God, you're so real. You're so honest. And I was like, oh, not only did this not make my whole business crash and burn, people saw that that was possible for them too. And it started to work for them. So I started noticing this ability to show up now, this ability to just keep doing the next thing, just keep doing the next thing, do the Facebook Live, do the enrollment call, they said no, do a blog about the reason why they said no, do a Facebook Live about the reason that person said no, this person commented, do a blog about that thing, and just keep going. Oh, nobody joined this program. Okay, let's launch the next program. And okay, with this program, one person joined this upsell that I had, or I got a one-on-one client. Okay, only 3 person joined this program. Okay, let's join the next program. And it's just your ability to just keep going and doing the next thing and doing the next thing and doing the next thing. So all of that was starting to happen, and oh my God, the amount of temper tantrums that I was having, because when you're surrounded by other people who don't show up that way, it's just a whole boatload of excuses and drama and, you know, pain and arguments and why it's so hard, and I'm needing my past to be validated because my past was so fucking hard, and it's still my excuse. Even though I'm a fucking adult now, it's still my excuse why I shouldn't have to show up right now. What happened to me when I was 8 is still my excuse why I shouldn't have to show up right now. That's just the way it is. That's what us humans do. We're recreating the dynamics over and over to try to heal them. But what we don't realize is that circling it doesn't ever heal it. Walking through things so that it gets flushed up actually does heal it. We're so afraid that stepping into something is going to flush up our ugly, but we want it to. And so I started to do this. I started to walk it out. I started to just do the next thing, And I started to notice these challenging things that came to me that I actually had to work through. And as I was working through them, I started reaching out for other people that thought differently. Like, okay, for example, traveling a lot. So all of a sudden my company took off. All of a sudden I was like, oh, I have to run live events. For the people, I promised these people I'd run a live event, and like, okay, I'm going to run a live event. And then now my daughter's sad that I'm leaving and I'm going to Bali. So it's like 2.5 weeks that I'm going to be gone. And okay, well, other people do this. Other moms do this. Wealthy people travel a lot. They're away, but somehow stay connected with their family. Nothing that I ever learned in this poverty thinking gave me permission as a mom to travel away from my kids. So there was no resource here. And I knew it was available for me, but yet none of my thinking made it available for me. So that's when I started reaching out to what I learned to be wealth mindset. And so this is a funny example of wealth mindset, but it is one. Basically, the concept is, and none of this happens, you won't get the experience unless you actually go big. You can hear it from someone, but unless you then walk it out, it means nothing. It literally just means nothing. You might as well just be speaking gibberish. It doesn't actually mean anything. You can read the damn book. It's like going to, what is it called? That place in Italy where you're not allowed to take any pictures and there's paintings everywhere, the Sistine Chapel. It's like reading a book or watching pictures from the Sistine Chapel. If you've ever been, it's indescribable. It's indescribable. To the smell, just the way people behave in there, the rules in there, just the whole thing, the glory of it all. You can't look in a book and be like, oh, I get it. This is what going big really is, right? It's stepping forward, allowing things to be challenged, and then actually leaping off that cliff. And so what it looked like was these things would come up and I would need to actually reach outside of what I knew to start calling in new concepts. And the new concepts are scary, and every part of you is like, yeah, this woman who's a mom and a millionaire, she's probably just teaching me this because she's selfish as shit and she's not there for her kids and she's self-absorbed and she's a shitty mom. And so she's teaching me this thing that she thinks, and now that I'm going to be a shitty mom if I listen to her. Like, these are the things that start coming up when you actually start going really big. So But you challenge them and you start calling in the people that have actually walked this out already. That's why I talk about let's not read a book and then teach it, because there's nothing for you to teach. There's no experience there. There's nothing to teach. It's not real. You can understand the concept, but until you've walked it out and got the experience, it's not real. So, which is why I teach my clients, like, okay, if you want to create your first 10K program, invest 10K in a mentor. Once you invest that 10K, what's going to happen is all the things are going to come up, and then you're going to navigate through them. You're going to work through them. You're going to become the human being on the other side. And now you're going to launch your 10K program, and someone's going to come to you with all the same shit that you just walked through, and you're going to grin and you're like, yeah, I get it. And you're going to know what to say, and you're going to know what to do, and you're going to know how to navigate with them, and they're going to feel safe with you because you get it. It's not like, oh, I have to prove that this 10K is worth it because that's a lot of money. You're not feeling that. You're feeling, oh, I remember when I was in those shoes, and I remember what that felt, and I got you. And you know she's right on track, or he's right on track, right? So then I started pulling in these wealth concepts. And when it came to really going big in life, what it boiled down to for me was risk. I had to choose to risk things for joy, not because I needed to prove that I could handle really hard things. So up until then, my story had been a story of, look at me, look at all the things I have overcome. I'm important and special because I overcame all of these things. And it was my identity. And so the mischief that happened at first was like, I created hard circumstances so that I could continue to prove to people that I'm so strong, right? So when I first started doing it, it was like, I didn't know that I was doing this at first, but looking back, I was making it sound harder than it was to people. I was not to people online, not to my tribal community. That was so real and authentic. I'm so proud of myself. But behind the scenes, definitely to like in that beginning with my ex-husband or with my family or with like some mentors that I had, it was always like, this is so hard for me. This whole thing is so hard. Investing is so much. And like, I'm doing these big things because there was some part of me who still needed to have that identity. And what I learned really fast was the wealthy people don't do that. If I needed to be validated for everything I went through, I needed to call that in. I needed to say, that's what I needed. I needed to not use my company as a way to get validated for hardship, for like being really like a person who shows up really big and gets through all the things, because there was things I couldn't talk about. There was things that I had done like, let me see how I can tell this story. For example, a family member of mine hurt somebody that I loved tremendously in a really horrific way. And obviously I had that person's back, and that was like my job and my role. And that family member who hurt that person, I did want to rip their throat out, and I wanted to murder them and bury them and pretend they never existed. And at the same time, that family member was somebody I loved and had nobody else. And I happened to understand what was happening. And so like while I was dealing with this over here, I was there for this family member. I went to court with them, and I made sure they got help. And nobody really ever knew that. Certainly the people in it were judging me like, you should just have this person's back. You should be involved. Like, it was a lot of drama. But in my soul, I was so goddamn proud of myself for putting aside my pain and all that I was going through to be there for this person who did something horrific to somebody I love, and to love that person through what they were going through because something horrific happened to them that nobody cared about. And so because of stuff that was behind the scenes that I couldn't tell the truth about, it was like I was still looking for validation through pretending that it was hard to do this. But if we're telling the fucking truth, it's not hard. You know what's hard? Living the same goddamn day over and over. Showing up half-assed, showing up at 60% every single day and never feeling the relief of having showed up 100%. That shit is hard. What's hard is to relive our past over and over and over, and to always have the story about why we shouldn't have to, which is really why I don't get to have the life that I desire. That shit was really hard. So what I started to see was these wealth people, largely, not everybody, but what I was learning, what I was calling in and seeking was there's a level of health that's going on where it's not like, let's, for example, getting therapy. If they need therapy, they're going to call in whatever they need. They're going to get support and help for whatever they need for the thing to be okay, for them to get to the next level. They basically give themselves whatever they need to get to the next level, right? And they don't do it to seem valuable or to seem like life is hard. They do it to actually get to the next level. So then I was like, oh, I started learning this concept of like, okay, so first I'm going to actually show up now, and it's going to cause temper tantrums, and I'm going to make the investment now. I'm going to make the commitment now. I'm going to do the damn thing right now, and I'm going to do big things right now. And on the other side of that, during the temper tantrums and the fit and the growing, I'm going to learn how to actually pull in what I actually need to go to the next level. Not this old habit of creating a sense of hardship so that it looks like I'm working so hard to everybody else. And really half the time I'm spending like 4 hours a day watching Dr. Phil while it appears that I'm working so hard, but secretly I'm doing all this other dumb bullshit and then acting like it's all so hard and I'm showing up so big. And I feel like most people in our culture do that. That's just a real thing. It's like somehow you're only valuable if you're struggling or if you're just pushing so hard or you're exhausted. I'm like doing all of these things. Like that makes you valuable. That is so stupid. That does not make us valuable. Sit down and watch Dr. Phil for 4 hours. It doesn't matter if that's where you're at. Just don't pretend that that's hard. That shit isn't hard, right? So then it was like, oh, I got to believe 2 things. One, doing the brave, crazy ass thing that everybody says I'm nuts for is the thing to do. That's what all those people over there that are successful and happy are doing. Do that thing. Make that brave ass leap. You know, when I launched the first mastermind, so my Diamond Mastermind, that's still there today. When I launched that Diamond Mastermind, the mentor at the time that I had, who was my very first mentor, told me not to. It's too hard. It's too big of a commitment. Don't do that. The Diamond Mastermind has been literally nothing but a massive blessing and a joy. And I love my clients. I love the meetups we do. I love doing life together. I've stumbled around about it a little bit. You know what I mean? Like I've not like done it absolutely perfectly, but it's been nothing but a joy. That same mentor told me not to run my first live event. My live events have been deeply life-changing for hundreds of people. I'm amazing at live events. I run incredible live events. And my mentor at the time told me not to do it. So not only was I making like big leaps and going big, I was going beyond what my even current mentors were telling me I was capable of doing. And I was leaping that big. And when I leapt that big, what I learned was there's a new level of self-care that's required. We do it's not the opposite way around. It's not, oh, I'm going to take care of myself and fix all these things and then I'll be able to go big. It's the opposite. So what poverty says is I need proof that this is going to be safe before I leap. What wealth says is make the damn leap. Trust me, you'll figure it out along the way. You will learn how to become healthy. You will learn how to call in what you need. You will learn how to scale to get to that next level. Even my current money goal that I just created, all of a sudden it was like, okay, I'm not reaching that money goal. What's really going on? And then I had to actually do the work to show up for myself to figure out what was holding me back or what was draining me. And it was, I was allowing people to be in my life that kind of, they say negative things or they insult me and it's funny, or it's just when they're angry and they didn't really mean it. But because I grew up in such an abusive home where my dad was insulting my mom constantly, there was beatings, there was abuse, it was constant. I was insulted constantly. You know, there was so much dismissive and you know, degrading energy in there that piece sort of came through. So even though I have zero tolerance for, like, a guy grabbed my wrist once and I never spoke to him again. Like, I have zero tolerance for violence whatsoever. But the name calling, somehow that snuck through. And I had people in my life that were actually calling me names or that were insulting me or that were just, you know, saying things that felt jarring. Or what happened was they would say fear-based things that actually somehow felt like they were getting to me, like they were affecting me. And so setting that money goal allowed me to be able to see something that I couldn't see prior to that. So I did some brave action. I made a big investment. I set a new money goal. And then as I started walking that out, I realized my current conditions didn't allow me to do that. And then all of a sudden the fog got removed and I could see something I couldn't see prior to that. And if you get nothing else from this training, what it really looks like to go big is to take the brave action first. Bravery creates clarity. Analyzing does not. Analyzing is a complete motherfucking waste of life. It does absolutely nothing. Where are your traumas housed? In your brain. Where's all the mischief and excuses housed? In your brain. Your heart is so much wiser than your brain. You understand that your heart thinks, right? That this has a massive intelligence. They've done a study proven that the heart they monitor the heart and they do these flashes. So on a computer screen, they'll have a next thing that flashes. And before the screen even shows the scary thing, the heart already anticipates it and knows it's coming. They haven't been able to figure out why, but it's over and over and over they did the study. The heart has the most amount of intelligence of our entire being right here. And living this way, the instincts, the I want that, the desires is the way to go big. But the brain will start freaking out, but the brain is a quarter, I just made that number up, as intelligent as your brain. I don't know how much, it's just significantly less. And all the mischief and excuses are housed here. This is where the neural wiring happened from all the trauma that you've been through and all the crazy shit you've been through and the crazy poor mentality things that you've been taught is all here. So in order to go big, we have to bypass this and the neurological freak out that happens when we go to do the brave thing, because doing the brave thing is what unlocks all of the other things. People are scared to do it, like, but what if I fail? Well, what's the one way that we can guarantee that you will fail? By not ever doing it, by not trying, by not going in. So you have a 50-50 shot of failing. I mean, I'm just being super dramatic. Worst case scenario is like, I have a 50-50 shot of failing or doing this and this working, but I have a 100% guaranteed success rate of failure if I don't do it. If I just don't go all in, if I don't do the damn thing, if I don't go for it, I'm definitely failing. But if I go for it, I might fail, but I might get it. You see what I'm saying? And the illusion is that we need proof before we actually do the brave thing that our heart or our soul or our instincts or our prompts or our, like, what's the hell yes for you? When you feel that moment of like that, like, yes, that creative idea, that instinct, it's the ability to be able to back that. No matter what anybody says, sorry, my nose is itchy. No matter what anybody says, no matter what anybody thinks, even if your mentor tells you, no, don't do that, tell your mentor to screw. I'm serious. Because if you ever have a mentor who tells you not to do something, that's their pattern. It means that they regret what they did, or they had a bad experience, or they don't see something that you can see, and you tell them to screw. If I ever have another mentor that tells me not to do something, they're fired instantly. No, don't do that. What? That's insane. And I didn't even say, do you think I should? I said, I'm doing it. And they said, no, don't do that. That's insane. Don't listen to people who do that, right? Giving you feedback and suggestions or alternatives, that's different. But someone telling you no, not to do that, ignore all of those people. So what it really looks like to go big, whether you like it or not, is basically a temper tantrum. That's what it looks like. It looks like freaking out. It looks like a temper tantrum. It looks like a hell yes. Wait, hesitation. It looks like a hell yes. Oh, it's not working. I did this. It's been a month, blah, 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 and I want to quit. I want to ease up. I want to go back, and it's staying. Today I was doing this long walk, and I did this heart meditation, and in it, it was saying basically like, is there anything your heart has to say to you right now? And all I could hear was like this deep voice of like, steady girl, steady, steady, steady. And I just started bawling and I was like, oh, okay. It's steady. That moment when you want to react and you want to flinch back, you want to contract, right? So that when you contract and when you do this, there's no creativity happening. There's no expansion happening. You're contracting, you're controlling. There's nothing that can happen except for what you show up and make happen. And then people think that's reality and that's the only thing available for them because they're contracted. And in this space, it is all. You just have to show up in your masculine and just do and just figure it out because that's the only thing available to you. But when we do this, the whole universe is available to us. All of infinite, creation is available to us, but we have to be in this expanded let go state. And so what it looks like is actually, we already know it's predictable that your nervous system is going to freak the hell out. It's going to freak out. It's going to flip out. It's going to scream at you and say, don't do that. Bad things are going to happen. That is its job. So if we knew, okay, that's predictable. I know there's brave action for me to take to back myself right now so that I can't get out of it. I have to show up. I have to become the next level of me. And I know my brain and my body are going to freak out. I know they are. They're going to because that's very predictable. That's just what your brain and nervous system is supposed to do. So it's associating like, oh, my brain and body are freaking out. I just made a big brave power move in myself by really cutting off a few people in my life that were really hard for me to cut out, especially right now during quarantine, and my ex has COVID. I don't know if you know that, and we're in quarantine, and it's like they're the only people. I just moved to Florida a year ago, and I don't know anybody here. I know a few people, but I don't have like family and friends here like back home, and it's like, oh, like I let the few people that I was engaging with go. That is a power move. And trust me, this morning when I was like, I kind of wanted to cry. I just kind of felt bad for myself. I was kind of pissed off. I was super tempted to be like, you know what, don't worry about it. It's no big deal, and just still keep engaging with them. But I made that power move. I cut it off. And this morning I felt it. I felt my nervous system freaking out. Like my whole life I've let people do that. And now I'm literally cutting them off when I'm already, feeling kind of lonely here, and it's, isolated, and it's a weird time in life, and I'm cutting them off for just that. That's all they did. Like people have done that my whole life. My whole body is just giving me all these excuses why I should be able to do that. And I breathed through like, steady, girl, steady. You took the step, you cut the ties, steady. Just stay steady. Today it hurts. Today it's hard. Today it's scary. Today your body's freaking out. It's going to be just a little bit easier tomorrow. My body's still going to freak out tomorrow. The excuses are still going to be flying at me on why I should be able to let them do that. Why it's no big deal. Why I can just go back to how it was because that felt so much better. Steady, girl. Steady. So whether it's a power move to remove people out of your life, have the tough conversation, make the investment, do the thing, it's actually taking the brave action, implementing it, doing it, and then knowing you're going to have a freak out after. What does it look like to go big? Freaking out. It looks like freaking out. I don't know what else to tell you. It looks like freaking out. It feels like freaking out. It feels like your whole entire body is flipping out and you just want to go back to whatever was familiar. And it's about being steady as fuck in that moment. That's why I love yoga. Yoga is just holding the pose. That's what it feels like. You do the brave thing and then you hold the pose. You stay steady. You do not quit. You do not turn around. You do not go back to it. You do not undo it. You do not hold back and play small. You stay fucking steady. You take one more step and one more step and one more step. And before you know it, you can breathe a little bit. You open your eyes a little bit. You're looking around a little bit. You can release a little bit. You start to exhale. You start to feel a little bit safe. You start to calibrate to this new thing, this new level of investment, this new way of showing up, this new commitment you've made to yourself, this, getting on the other side of the craving or the urge to purge or the unhealthy dynamic that keeps going where you keep creating the arguments because sex is good after or whatever the stupid shit is in your life. You stay steady as fuck in that season while your body flips out. And it does not take long. And the more often you do this, the faster and faster and shorter the freakouts will be. Like, I know at this point, it's only going to be a couple days. It was literally a couple months in the beginning. It was a couple months of flipping the fuck out. Now it's a couple days. And soon enough, I know that it'll be like an hour or a couple hours. It's not going to be a couple days even after a few more years of seasoning myself doing this. So we start where we start. It looks like what it looks like. What is the brave, bold, committed action that you're taking that you cannot turn back from? You cannot get out of. And then when you do it, you're going to be so tempted in every way, shape, or form because some things you can't not, that's why investment is so amazing. I'm not even kidding. Being able to invest in a mentor is one of the greatest things on the planet because it's money, which is the most triggery thing on the planet. You're committing to something that you literally can't get back up. You can't, I want a refund halfway through. You can't do that. You have to see it through. It's so powerful. Things like what I just did, cutting a couple people off my life, I could undo it. And it was so tempting and all day. Like I literally sat there like holding my phone and like checking my phone like 4 times. And it was like, okay, this is just the freak out day. It's going to pass. Maybe I'll have 1 or 2 more freak out days and then it's over. And just stay steady, easy girl, hold the motherfucking pose. Don't you drop that pose, right? But you can't get to that magic right there if you don't do the brave thing first, if you don't take the brave risk, if you don't do the damn thing, if you don't say yes, if you don't leap. And sometimes you're going to fuck it up and that's all right. It never mattered. I fucked shit up. I can't even tell you how many times. Oh man, did I fuck shit up. I remember one time in my Diamond Mastermind, it was like maybe I ran like a 3-month mastermind thing. After the 3 months, my ex did some enrollment calls and he gave away 6 months of 45-minute one-on-one coaching weekly. 6 months of 45-minute calls to like 12 people that were in the mastermind. That's 12 hours a week that he gave away for free for 6 months. Oh my God. I was freaking out. That was like the biggest thing that I ever had to swallow in my whole life. It was like, Now I know that ability to swallow a big mistake and just accept it and surrender to it. And I did the 6 months. Now does it matter? No. And at that time, I remember thinking the day will come when the 6 months is done and this will be done and this mess will be cleaned up. But it was what it was. And there's been so many things like that have happened that it's just like, it is what it is. Like, this one's going to be a 2-year cleanup, Mandy. Like, you have 2 years on this one. It's like, all right, well, you eat that 2-year pie. And at the end of the 2 years, you're on the other side of it. You're like, it is what it is, right? You're going to fuck some shit up, but no matter how bad you fuck something up, it's 10,000 times more valuable than not doing anything. And I can say that to you because I have taken brave leaps nonstop since the beginning. It's all I do. It's just take more and more brave leaps. I just keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. And I now just live in that space. It's just the normal space that I live in. Do you know what I'm saying? This is just the space that I live in. So when something happens, and I'm not going to lie to you, and I know you feel this because you have areas of life where you're already doing this, it feels damn good to trust yourself. You just trust yourself. Maybe it's fitness for you. Maybe it's how you eat. Maybe it's how you show up with your kids. Maybe it's with your finances. Maybe it's with never quitting. Maybe it's just like, I fuck everything up, but I never quit. I just keep going. Whatever it is for you, there's something in some area of life where you really trust yourself. Maybe you're just an incredible friend or an incredible daughter or incredible son, right? Like, you just really trust yourself in that area. But you get to have that in every single area. And you certainly get to have that as far as generating wealth and income, for damn sure. And why would we ever live any other way? If it's available for you to live in the space where you know that you get to have massive amount of wealth and you never have to worry about money again, why wouldn't you? Right? But what that looks like is 100% going in, not playing at this 60-40% bullshit that we're playing and pretending that's my 100%. This is so hard, Mandy. Is this really fucking hard for you? Actually, is it really hard for you? Well, no. Actually, I think this is child's play for you. And actually, while you're going to sit there and pretend it's hard, let's double up. So that thing that you just said was so hard, now you're going to do twice that. Is that hard? Nope. No, it's actually not fucking hard for you. It's not. So stop playing a game. It's not hard to make the investment to do the thing. The only thing we actually need to do in order to have massive success and go big and play a big game is to handle the freak out. If you can handle the freak out, you're completely golden. I'm going to be creating a meditation series for people like to use during the freak out, because I realize, like, well, all you have to be able to do is get through the freak out. and once you've done it a few times, you'll start trusting yourself to get through the freak out and you'll make bigger and bolder moves. But in the beginning, it's sort of like you don't trust yourself to navigate those emotions that hit you. But if you remember, it's just an illusion. It's just the nervous system literally thinking that you're going to get eaten by a bear, that you're going to die. Are you going to die if you make an investment and you fall on your face? No. Is it going to be annoying and frustrating? Yes. Do you want to be entitled and act like you shouldn't have to go through that in order to get to where you want to go? Yes. But do we need to go through those things to get to where we want to go? Yes. So are you going to die? Is anything dangerous? No. So the brain is wrong. The nervous system is wrong. It thinks that you're going to die. You're not. It's our job to train the brain to back the soul. It's our job to train your brain to back your soul so that the brain starts to learn, like, oh, I didn't know. I really thought you were going to die if you did that. Like, okay, you're not going to die if you did that. I'm starting to see that now. Okay, I'll stop freaking out. And after a few days or a couple weeks, whatever it takes, whatever, even if it takes a couple weeks, the only thing stopping you from having massive wealth and success is your ability to be able to navigate the freak out. Why do you think I built Elite? It's to be in the space of being able to handle the feelings and emotions and show up now. That's the whole point of Elite, right? Hi, baby. Did you just wake up? You were so cute sleeping. Driving, but here. Drive safe, Jacqueline. Love your live this morning. Reminded me of the need to do the list that I keep putting off. Yeah. The put things off later is the thing that keeps people in poverty. The inability to handle the freak out. And it's not for you guys, it's the inability to be able to handle the freak out. And maybe in some areas it's this, but largely it's probably just your ability to be able to handle that freak out. But for some people in the very beginning, especially when you're really, trenched in the mindset of poverty, it's really just not even knowing. It's not knowing that that's what's happening in your body. They don't know. It's like, oh, since I feel so horrible, this must be wrong. Something horrible must be wrong. No, it's the story you're telling yourself that something's wrong that's making you feel worse, right? If you looked at it and you're like, well, I done fucked that up. this must be an amazing lesson for me. Like, oh, thank God this happened. This is going to be the greatest lesson ever. You wouldn't be freaking out. But when you tell yourself, oh no, I screwed up, everything's going to fall apart, you're going to freak out, right? So in the beginning, people don't know that, oh, it's predictable that I'm going to freak out. Just because I'm thinking it's not going to work, it's not going to work, it's not going to work. That's the thing that's making me feel shitty. It's not that it's actually not working. Like, everything always works out. It's like in the beginning, people don't know that that's what's happening in the body. And if you don't know, then of course it's going to be largely impossible for you to make decisions to feel that way. If a decision makes you feel that way, you're not going to do it because you believe it is dangerous. No, this actually is dangerous. Something bad really might happen. This really might take me out and then nothing works and then I'm alone or dead or whatever, right? And so when you believe that, why would you take massive action? You're never going to go big if that's what you actually believe, right? For most of us here, we have an awareness that that's what's happening and that the goal is to overcome that, but maybe we just don't know how to overcome that, or we've just not gotten a taste of really going big, and maybe we haven't told the truth about what it looks like to really go big and be fully committed, and then allow ourselves to be seasoned and calibrate to that so that we associate with that sensation in our body as something good, not bad. Like, oh, look, I'm freaking out. That's because I'm pushing that line. I'm growing. I'm outgrowing myself right now. That's amazing. Only good things happen from outgrowing myself. Only good things happen from pushing this line. And everything I want is on the other side of fear. And all good things are going to be on the other side of this. I just need to hold the pose. Stay steady. Do not leave the room. Do not leave, right? Stay steady. And when we learn that skill, sky's the limit. Sky is the limit. I look back to when I was on fire, my kids would be with their dad for a week and I didn't turn the TV on once. Yeah, you know what? I literally have always taken a week to go to a hotel. So whether I was hiring a nanny or my kids stayed with my ex, or when I was with him back at the time, I would just take a week. And of course, you don't have that much money. You're just starting. It feels so ridiculous to spend that much money going to a hotel to be away from the kids. But I knew that. I knew I needed that flow. Just like now, I know I need mornings. My team, everybody, leave me alone till 11 o'clock. I bang out all the important stuff by 11 o'clock. I'm fire, I'm flow. And I noticed that was one of the things. So one of the people I was talking to got really upset if I didn't talk to him in the morning. And I noticed that really interrupted me. So, you know, the standard was like, you can't break something off with someone because they need you to talk to them in the morning. Yeah, you can actually. That's the new standard, right? That's where my old pattern would start freaking out and being like, you're not allowed to do that. You're being excessive, whatever, right? Oh, dang, I see what I am proving. Mandy is like, hi, Gina. I think this makes sense with my intuition, the heart. Our brains are just supposed to keep us alive, so the brain doesn't like anything new and risky. It just wants us to do what we did yesterday. Boom, Jennifer said it. Oh my God, I love this. Such fire. Here, hi, Dana. Steady, girl, steady. I can so relate to that voice. Sometimes it's shouting, stay in it, steady, girl. Yes. And I say it out loud now. Steady, girl. Steady, steady, hold the pose. And so like when my body's freaking out, and I love this visualization, maybe it'll support you. It's like the wave, like a storm going and there's a huge wave and it crashes down. I mean, like in that moment, that's like steady. It's like, I can't breathe. It's like salt in my eyes and rocks are hitting me. And it's like, and it seems like it's never going to stop and you're pretty sure you're going to drown, but you know that wave's going to go back out to the ocean. And all of a sudden it starts to calm down and it goes back out to the ocean. And then you know it's only a matter of time before another wave comes, but it's all right. And in that moment when you can't breathe and it's all clamming, it's like knowing it's just a wave. It's just a wave. It's a beautiful ocean. It's just a wave. I'm part of the ocean. You know, it's all, and it's like knowing that the wave's going to go back out. But in the moment when we can't breathe, if we believe in that moment that it's all falling apart, that nothing is working, that this is bad, that I shouldn't be doing this, that I need to somehow alleviate this pressure or this pain or this feeling, I need to make it go away. And we start numbing or we go back to the thing or we chicken out. It's like, then we're just going to go back through that over and over again. But if we do the damn brave thing and we show up and we're in it and we're there and we allow the thing to hit us and blah, and it goes down and we know what's happening, steady girl, hold the pose, hold the pose. Do not quit. Do not run. Do not shy back. Do not contract. You will hold this motherfucking pose. And you hold the pose, it will pass every single time. And what's on the other side of that? I can't even begin to tell you. I don't have words to tell you what's on the other side of that. And I know you've already gotten a taste of it with the small steps you've been making, but I'm talking about big moves. I'm talking about all in, big moves, whatever that looks like for you in your life, whatever area of life that looks like for you. What does it look like for you to be all in on this, to know the nth degree of where this is going to go, and allow yourself to dream really big in that vision? And how would you be backing that today? And what does a really bold, big move look like for you? And then when you start to freak out, knowing what's happening, like, oh, this is just that predictable moment. If I can master this moment, I have mastered all of success. End of story. End of story. The rest of it will just be ahas and lessons and support and removing the blocks and all that kind of stuff. But if you can master the freak out, if you can hold the pose when the storms are raging and it's bombarding you, and you can just know that the breath is coming, and you can know that the relief is coming, you can know that on the other side is some really incredible things, then you've mastered success. End of story, right? And that also looks like, because if you can master that feeling, you're showing up right now. Because why don't we show up right now? That same feeling. I don't want to do it right now, and excuses and blah, chaos in the head. When we go to make ourselves do it right now, that same thing, it's that temper fit. It's that sometimes it feels like fear, sometimes it feels like anger or temper fit, but it's the same shit. It's just your ability to be able to move the way you want to move, or hold the position when you want to hold the position, to be in alignment with your best self, with the you that you want to be. Either I'm making the power move right now and I have control over this, or I'm holding my position and I'm not shying back. I'm in control of this, right? And it's just a feeling and sensation that will always pass every single time. I promise you. I've had it last a month where I thought this, I remember saying at the end of that month, I was wrong. It doesn't pass. Some things just last forever. At the end of that month, like looking back, I laugh, but I swear a month of holding your breath for a wave feels like a long time, but it passed, and amazing things were on the other side of it. It always is, every single time. Nothing's wrong. It's just the meaning that we make up about it that makes us think something's wrong, but nothing's wrong. Okay, really? Now it's 2 times the hardship. Marine Corps Mandy, love it. Right on time. Woo, Jacqueline. Oh my God, I've totally thought the freak out is terrible. It's fuck, I'm doing something wrong. Nah, yeah, I know. Most people do. Welcome to why it's 1% of people that hit 7 figures in this industry. 1%. 6 to 7% of people ever hit 6 figures. What the fuck is that? I am so unavailable for that statistic. It's not even funny. What we're talking about here isn't a small thing. I mean, this is the real deal. This is the whole shebang right here. Our ability to be able to hold the pose, make the brave move, allow the freak out to happen, and hold the pose steady is everything. Nothing is wrong. That's what's supposed to happen. Otherwise, you wouldn't be growing. This is why I say growing feels like growing. It doesn't feel like complacency. Doing the same shit every day, you already know what that feels like. Your body thinks that's what you should do forever and ever and ever, or else you're going to die. Okay, so I know that when I step outside of that, right? I love how Oprah says it. No greater battle than the part of you that wants to stay the same, battling the part of you that wants to grow and change. It's just duking it out. Bah, that's what you're feeling on the inside. You're just feeling this battle. Bah. And you're like, the association we make is like, since I'm scared and terrified, it must mean that this thing is not the right thing to do. Wrong. I don't know what this is. I have no idea what that is. A shark wrong? I don't know. Or we think because something's a big disaster, I'm going to say this, and I feel like we already know this in our soul, but I'm going to say it because I feel like it's a good time for our pattern to hear it. Any negative thing that we feel is bullshit. It is. So when we're feeling something bad, like nobody likes me, you know, I screwed up, all these people are better than me, the reason you feel like shit isn't because it's true everybody's better than you. The reason you feel like shit in that moment is because you're telling yourself everybody's better than you. You're telling yourself a bullshit story that is causing an emotion that you don't desire. It's never the circumstance. It's never the, like, it's really true that I'm a complete failure. Well, I guess if you quit right now, then it may be true. But it's not true as a predicted future. See, I'm by identity, I'm just a failure, and I'm going to be a failure forever. I'm just going to always screw this up. That's going to feel like shit because that's a bullshit story. It doesn't feel like shit because it's true. Do you see what I'm saying? Let me give you another example. Okay, so my inability to have been steady today with the food. I screwed the food all up today. If I chose a story that like, see, I'm never going to be able to do this. I'm never going to lose the next 20 pounds. Like, who am I to ever teach someone else how to be steady when I screwed this up? I would feel all these horrible feelings. It doesn't make it true for the future, right? None of that makes it true, but I could believe that easily in the moment and think, oh, I feel bad because I screwed up my food this morning. That's why I feel bad. No, I didn't feel bad that I screwed up my food, right? I didn't feel bad at all. I acknowledged it and faced it and looked at it and been like, okay, I told myself the truth, but I didn't feel bad about it. I would have only felt bad if I told myself a story that felt bad. But the story I told myself felt really good. Like, okay, cool. Let's look at this one. It wasn't perfect. A month ago you were here. Wow, you've come a long way in a month. Great job. Now let's clean this up because it feels that good to have come this far. How good is it going to feel in a month when you've gone that far? Like, okay, cool. How are we tweaking this? How are we changing it? What do you need to implement or do or shift? And maybe it'll take me a couple weeks to figure it out, but it doesn't matter because in a year when I look back, I'm going to be so grateful of the steady steps that I just kept taking. Do you see what I'm saying? It's the story we tell ourselves that causes the negative emotion. I feel like it's my soul sending off an alarm saying like, hey, that story is complete bullshit. And it's like, what? Huh? Oh, this feels horrible. Oh, I feel so good. Like, what's wrong with me? Blah, blah, blah. And then the story sets off an alarm and the alarm starts going off and then I feel horrible. And then I think, oh, I feel horrible because I ate poorly. Nope. Nope. That's not why I feel horrible. Oh, I feel horrible because I made this huge investment and I didn't make my money back. Nope. That's not why you feel horrible. You feel horrible because you had a story that failure looks like not making the money back by this date. Hey, universe. You're only allowed to bless me if you make it look like this by this date. That's the only way you're allowed to bless me. It's the ridiculousness that we do. It's the story of the illusion of aloneness or separateness. It's all bullshit. Anything that you tell yourself that feels bad is complete bullshit. And we just get it mixed up. We accidentally think that the thing we just made up a shitty story about is the thing that hurts us, but it's not. It's the shitty story that we just made up about the thing that hurts us. So once we can start actually calling it out for what it is, even when we're in the middle of freak out, nothing is wrong. It's my favorite thing to be able to do with my clients when they're in the middle of something and I'm like, oh yeah, she's right on track. He's right on track. That's exactly what it looks like. And I'm like, no, nothing's wrong. This makes perfect sense. This is all predictable. And I reflect that back and they're like, oh, that's true. And then they can feel that exhale and they can, get that wiring start going. We're actually rewiring the structure of their brain to associate with the sensations differently so that they have that power in those moments. People say that shared custody is horrible. I love it for that reason. It is a hard adjustment, but it has a blessing. There's blessings to it too. I have a story in my head that may or may not be true, but the story that I've made up is that the kind of moms that they don't feel called to impact the world. They really feel called to be everything to their children. It's much harder for them. That's my story. I don't know if it's true, but I've thought about that many times. Like, imagine if I was just one of those like moms where like, I wanted nothing more than to just be a mother and nothing else. And then, my kids are gone half the time. Like, talk about crisis. My big move I want to do right now is end a 5-year relationship that does not make me a better person. Yep. Been there. I did that 1.5 years ago. It's a perfect arena for you to practice staying true. What is my heart telling me? Trusting that, taking an action, one step forward, and then feeling the freak out and all the excuses and all the reasons why we have to go back, blah, blah, blah. And then hold the pose, breathe. It's going to pass. Wake up the next day, take one more step, hold the pose, breathe, let it pass. And the other thing I love to do is call in resource for it. So, one of the things was that, one of the people who just said these things to me that were like kind of insults, kind of fear-based things, like whatever, mixture of a thing. And it just never felt good. It didn't feel good. I noticed it was having a negative effects on me. And so I took the brave action. I cut the relationship off. I breathed through. I held the pose. I went for my meditation walk. I cried. I felt the things. And I know that there'll be a couple more days of this. But I also went online and started researching, like, don't put up with people who call you names or who cause fear-based stuff. And I let myself, and I found this quote that I really locked into. And it's actually, I was going to show you, it's on the back of my screen. Like, I put it on the back of my screen to read it every single day to remind myself so that those voices that call me back, those excuses that sometimes work, can't work. I'm not letting them work. I'm pulling in stuff that keeps me focused on what I want to be focused on so that old stuff can't pull me back, right? I'm not crying. I love you, Richard. Every time I go to open my mouth, it's like my brain locks it shut. This makes so much sense. Yep. So I had a story. So it took me like 6 months to actually ask for the divorce because I had a story that my brain would fog. It's just bullshit. It's not real. Our brain doesn't actually fog unless we have Alzheimer's. Or you're on drugs and the drug is eating a hole in your brain. Then maybe there's a brain fog. But other than that, it's not real. Our mouth doesn't really lock shut and our brain doesn't really have fog. It's an illusion. So it's just breathing through that, taking the power move, trusting the process, knowing, yeah, you're going to feel some pain and some confusion and those old excuses and all the reasons why, like why it's okay that it's like this and why I shouldn't have something like the skill to be able to let go of something good, either bad or good, even if it's just good, but letting go of the good to have the great, right? Like that is, talk about the opposite of survival. And it is a power move and it's very rare for people to do this kind of thing right here. It's very rare. Very rare. But if you do it and you stick to it, every time you go to make a power move and every time you have a freak out, it's less and less. It's different. It's like, you know what's happening. It has less power over you. It's like when you stop eating sugar and you start eating fruit instead, the sugar cravings just don't have the same power over you. It's the same thing. It's the same stuff going on in the brain. The au pair was my first brave action on this, lining up the support so it's not overwhelming. Anna, sending so much love to you. You are not alone in this. You have a whole community and tribe here with you. I wish that we could all come and give you a big hug and wake you up in bed and jump on your bed and be there witnessing you and just physically supporting you. But you have us here in this tribe, in this community, and that's what we're here for, right? Like we're here for the big, brave moves. We're here for it. This is elite. I called this elite for a reason, right? Like, yeah, it's only $97 a month, but 100% I could easily charge $1,000 a month for this all day long. I could have high-end people in here who are paying $1,000 a month and we're playing this big game all day long, right? So don't underestimate the power of life-changing transformation that's going to happen in this container just because it's only $97, right? I did this so that it'll end up being a big group and I wanted a first place for people to come to, but this is going to change your life and you have all the support that you could possibly ever need right here to get through this and you're not alone. So now there's no time like now to make our power moves. All of us here. What is your big brave move? What are we doing? How are we going all in? How are we calling our ass to more? My daughter's sleeping right there. So adorable. She had friends over for like 4 days all weekend. It was like 5 girls here all weekend. 1, 2, 3, 4 girls here all weekend. So I'm sure she got very little sleep. She's so adorable. She came in the middle of the thing and just fell asleep in the bed. There's nothing like a sleeping child. Why do we love them the most when they're quiet? It's so true. Okay, so this was what it looks like to go big training. I would love to hear what comes up for you guys, what your go big looks like and how you're committing to it. And I think that what I desire is to come up with a hashtag so that when you say it, we know that you're in the middle of the storm. Maybe getting like, maybe the wave emoji, like I'm getting hit by a wave. Steady girl, hashtag steady boy, steady girl. What are we thinking? Do you guys got any creative ideas? So when you say it, we know you're in that moment where you did the brave thing and now everything is screaming at you to go back to what was and you're getting your ass kicked and you're in that moment. And we know that you're doing it and you're staying steady as fuck. What creative ideas do you guys have? I feel like I don't know what my power move is. So what comes to me when you say that, Julie, is like, okay, even though it feels like I don't know what my power move is, if I were to just take a guess, it would be. So your power move might be actually trusting yourself to know what your power move is. That might sound annoying, but I'm being solely genuine, right? If the pattern is, I don't know, because I don't know is not real. That's a pattern, actually. It's just a procrastination pattern. Not knowing is not an actual real thing. We are full knowing as beings. We are all and only knowing. That's all we are. That's what we, like at our core, that's all we are. So it would just be, so your power move would be, I'm unavailable for the story that I don't know, right? And it would be like, okay, what would this week look like? In what areas of life are you not taking brave action because you don't know? What areas of life am I feeling confused? Where don't I know what to do? What have I been holding back on or not doing because I don't know what to do? Where am I being indecisive? And what do I need to just call 3, 2, 1, make a decision on? I'm seeing hints of the storm coming, so I'm committing to staying steady no matter what. I just quit my job, so that felt like a power mode. Boom! That is definitely, Julie. I would say that is one. Okay, so this is what we got. We got hashtag steady AF. We got the wave. So we know this language right here is what we're going to tune in. So when someone says, I'm in the middle of a storm, The wave is kicking my ass. Steady, girl, steady. We know what's happening. Yeah, this is good language to just cut through so we know. So when someone says that, we're going to love on them and pour love on them and just be present with them while they're going through that. And hopefully we're going through that pretty consistently. That's not something to avoid. That's the kind of life that makes life really, that's adventure. That is massive adventure right there. That is just like, breakthrough, breakthrough, breakthrough. And all of a sudden you look back and you're like 7 leagues ahead of where you ever dreamed you could possibly be. You look back in 1 year and you're just like, how did that happen? And everybody's like, how did you do that? And you're like, God, I'm not really sure. Let me figure that out. And then 4 years later, you'll be saying a story like this. You'll be running a training like this. And I'm sure you've already done it in some areas of your life. You've already crushed that and done it and sold the tickets on it, right? Now we're just going to do it in a couple new areas of life. End of story. Yes, now backing my ass. Yes. Yeah, just remember the I don't know, my brain is shut down, my mouth is locking, any of those kind of things that we have, all of us have those things, none of them are real. I'm doing something wrong, something's wrong. No, nothing's wrong. You're probably telling yourself a scary story that's scaring the shit out of yourself, like a little kid in bed, that there's a boogeyman in my bed and it feels so real, but there's no boogeyman there. It's not real. It feels so real, and you're tucking your feet under the sheets and you're locking the bed and you wish that you had a string. When I was a kid, I tied a string to the light switch up over the thing, over the ceiling, down to the light switch so I could pull it next to my bed and the light would go on. I had horrific nightmares probably from all the trauma. But it's like we just wish we had that light switch that we could turn on, but you really can turn that light switch on. It's not true that there's a boogeyman there. It feels so real, but it's not. I mean, it's really, really not. You're really safe. Everything's okay. Everything's gonna be amazing. And when you're stretching and you're living on that front edge like that, that leading edge in life, it's gonna feel all the time like there's boogeymans. And so you learn to just be like, oh yeah, that's just, you associate with it like, oh, I have that feeling constantly that other people have, but that feeling shuts them down and they get really scared, and I just don't, largely because I associate to it differently, and that's what we're doing here, right? Yes, hashtag steady with the wave. Boom. I love it. Okay, guys, I love you so much. I went a little bit over tonight, but I think that's okay. I think we love hanging out together, so it's no big deal. I still haven't come up with the next game is going to be. I've been just sort of like letting it be playful and be like, letting a creative idea, but no creative ideas coming through. So tomorrow I'll probably just be like, okay, we're just making a decision tomorrow because I want to keep that ball rolling. It's a lot of fun. And I just love giving gifts too. That's a lot of fun too. So I'll let you guys know what that is soon. I hope this served you. I have an ask. If you feel like Elite is really incredible and you're loving the experience here, before I raise the price, because I'm raising it soon, it'll be $197. If you have any friends or people that you feel like you would love in here, or you feel like they would really love it in here, please invite them, let them know to come in before we raise the pricing in here. If everybody just did one person, we're just double the effect that we're having on the planet right now. And I just really, I know that, I want people to be able to have that sort of blessing, and that, $97 is something you have on the side, and just knowing that you get to have this as that thing there. It's my vision. It's my vision for everybody to have that as a blessing in their life. So if you know anybody, if anybody comes to mind, just sort of check in with your heart and soul. If the soul prompts someone for you, go ahead and tell them. And, it's just mandyperry.com/elite for them to join. And you can just share your experience with them. That would be tremendously helpful for me reaching those people and just creating that love community that I have a vision for. I'm very excited for before the podcast and everything, it'll be rolling in. But yeah, I just feel like there's another wave of people that are meant to be here doing this with us and building friendship and life together. Life-changing already. Love it. Okay. I love you guys so much. Have an amazing day or night, wherever you're at in the world. And I will see you guys on tomorrow morning's Wake Up Zoom. What do I call it? The power. It's a sports thing. Huddle. The power huddle in the morning. Okay, I love you guys. I will see you tomorrow morning. Bye.